I wrote this incredible presentation. It was all about IP ownership in the 21st century. It had dynamic slides. It was great. Unfortunately, last night I was in a bar, and my friend I was chatting to him about this company he used to work for. He might still work for them. I don't want to say anything about that. And he said, yeah, I kind of get that. It's all really important. It's really interesting. You know, I just don't understand what you're talking about. Obviously, it wasn't being very interesting. So he said, I don't really understand. When you talk about copyright, you talk about trademarks, you're going on about it. What are they? What's the point? So I changed my talk. I got on a train this morning and thought I'd hastily rewrite a talk. So what you're going to get is IP 101. I mean, has anyone come across, you've probably all come across intellectual property law, haven't you? Hands up if you have, I'm just saying. Okay, do you all understand it? Because otherwise I probably should just go. So as a result, the company we're talking about features quite heavily. I'm not going to say which one it is, but there'll be a prize if you can work out what it is later. I don't know what that prize would be. There's some really nice chocolate, that Nom Nom chocolate. Someone makes that here. Yeah, that stuff's amazing. The caramel stuff, I may have stolen it off the table, but you know. So there might be that, might be a beer. So on my train journey down, I decided to write out the basics, which I've learned over time. And I also put together a PowerPoint. I'm not going to lie to you, PowerPoint isn't my strong point. The slides aren't particularly impressive. One of them is so bad, it's actually quite impressively bad. It's got some colour coding. You'll see it. So that's basically it. So what are intellectual property rights? Basically, they're the rights that exist in anything you create as a result of intellectual effort. And the purpose is to give you the right, if you own it, to protect it and give you, you can make some money out of it, you can give it away. But basically, you should have the option. You shouldn't have someone coming along, ripping you off if you don't want them to. So the aim of intellectual property laws isn't to stifle competition, do this. I know you get patent trolls which kind of do this. The idea is to actually encourage creativity. So if you do come up with an idea, you can actually go ahead and use it without anyone, worrying too much. I mean, if you're going to make a product, don't ever go on eBay and eBay it, and you'll just realise everyone's ripped you off. But let's leave that aside. So at the end of the weekend, you're all going to expend an intellectual effort. So it'd be good to know what you've learnt, and you can protect these ideas. So I think if I do this side, that's where I work, Sheridans. Which is now going to appear in everything, I realise. So these are some of the companies I work with. Do you all know this product? It's a pretty cool product. Do you know this one as well? It's Minecraft. So the reason I'm late down is because they're having trouble with a patent troll in the US. But they're a really amazing company. Makey Dolls. This is an awesome game. It's by Fat Pebble. If you go on your iPhones, you can get it. It's really cool. This is Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, that one, made by Rocksteady, who are two guys from Bermondsey who came up with a company, and they eventually sold out to Warner. And BBC Worldwide, who are a lovely company. And this is Bike Parker. Any of you cycle? Anyone getting their bike wet when it rains, invariably? This guy, Greg, he makes it's a jacket for your bike. Kind of clues in the name. So this is Innocent. Great company. Oh, hang on, I should probably say a bit about Sheridans. Basically, media law firm, work with creative people. Used to work with a load of bands, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I work in the team that works with startups. So Innocent, let's talk about Innocent. Everyone know this brand? Everyone like this brand? Pretty tasty, anyway. Oh, hang on, I've got completely lost. Anyway. This is all about retaining value in your brand. Innocent obviously got a huge amount of value, huge amount of IP. Years ago, I worked for a big city law firm in a big glass building. It was really shiny, looked like a fortress. And our clients would buy other companies. And what invariably they'd do, they'd say, I'll buy your company for £20 million, and then they'd let their lawyers go to work. As part of the IP team, we'd go around their offices, we'd talk about what IP they had, we'd all shuffle off into a little room, and then we'd go through all their paperwork and rip it to pieces, and then write a nice shiny report, give it back to our client, and say, it's not really worth it. It's quite depressing, hence why I left. This is innocent. Sorry, I've gone completely rogue off the speech that I wrote. Intellectual property laws, I should probably point out, they give you a structure to look at things. Has anyone come out with a really new, interesting idea? Put your hands up if you are. You're going to be protecting them using really, really old laws. They don't really cover you, but specifically, but they give everyone a structure in order to protect it. So anyway, when I was working for this big law firm, we'd see all these issues, and everyone we'd give them the shiny report, and they would say, oh, I was going to give you 20 million, now I'm going to give you 16 million because your IP is a mess. And every single time, it was always a preventable issue. And it was always really, really preventable when you start up, if you basically have an understand it. So this is the Innocent logo. This logo, they came up with the start. And this is what happened to this logo a few weeks ago. This is their, I don't know if you can see, this is their trademark in the European Union. And what you can't see here, it says cancellation pending. And then you have an article like this. And they had their trademark cancelled due to somebody else owning the copyright in it, who had bought when they set up. So generally quite depressing. But you can get around these issues if you think of IP at the start. So.
Somebody then patented, did they take the copyright after it was created by Innocent?
They created the logo, apparently. An artist apparently created this logo for them, and they never paid him. They might have paid him. I'll come on to that later. You've got that story to come. I should point out that legal stories are basically law is about stories. This is what somebody once told me. Unfortunately, all these stories in law are when something goes wrong. It's really, really quite depressing. So when I was learning law, you'd have a story, there'd be some kids, there'd be a circus, there'd be a tiger in the circus, and you knew at some point in time it was all going to go wrong. And then the law was going to be, yeah, if you have a tiger, you need to put a sign around the tiger saying, don't, and then kids can't read. And basically, it's painful. So you don't want to be in 5 years' time at a legal conference talking about this sort of stuff. You want to be, Michael Acton Smith talking about how great it was and how it all did really well. So never be the legal story. Basically, hopefully, you never really need to see lawyers in controversial situations. If you do, we can normally get you out of it. We're quite creative sometimes. Anyway, so let's not talk about this. It's still really tasty. I think that's the important thing. So, right, this is the slide that I'm particularly proud about. I mean, this is beautiful. Come on. So, I've got two colours. The eagle eyes amongst you might notice I've written something down twice. I'm not stupid. It turns out you can have... I'll explain my colour coding system. So the stuff in the black, you need to pay for. You need to register. You can register it territorially. So, trademarks you can register in the European Union. You can register it in the UK. It won't give you protection worldwide. You can also have stuff that exists automatically, copyright, unregistered design rights, unregistered trademarks. But that's a bit of a minefield, so we'll leave that. Anyway, I'm going to leave you to enjoy this slide. This is kind of important. So, black stuff free. No, red stuff free, black stuff paid for. Okay, right. I was going to start off with copyright. So what is copyright? I need to get this right, otherwise I'm going to go slightly wrong. So copyright protects the original expression of an idea. It's not the idea itself, it's how it's articulated. What this means is it needs to be articulated in a format. So you get things like artistic works, paintings, literary works, which includes books, but also includes like source code and things like that. And the owner of a copyright, it gives them the right to prevent others from copying either the whole of it or a substantial part of it. Substantial part doesn't mean you need to knock off 90% of it. It's a qualitative thing. So If you think about the Mona Lisa, if you were to copy that, it's out of copyright, by the way, you can copy that, it's fine. But if you were to copy the smile, everyone would recognise that as a smile, and you'd be like, well, you've just ripped off the Mona Lisa. You've infringed somebody's copyright. If you kind of copy, sorry, I keep hitting something. If you copied like one of the dark colours, that's fine. No one's going to recognise that. No one cares. So it's qualitative. So what have you got here? Handily, I've written it. There you go. It must be original. It must involve independent skill and labour. You could have, sometimes, and we've had it quite recently at work, somebody came up with this incredible logo. I can't tell you what it is. And then somebody else also a famous musician, came up with this incredible logo. It wasn't that original. Otherwise, two people wouldn't have come up with it. And one of them tried to sue the other one. And they were like, I've never heard of you. I've never seen this. I just came up with it independently. Just because it looks the same doesn't mean that I've actually copied it. So you actually have to have copied it. So there you go. Must be original, involve independent skill and labour. Unregistered right, exists on creation. All good stuff. Does not have to have artistic merit. So I actually think this is a pretty bloody good picture. This is the Danube, apparently, as you can see, from Alec. It's got everything. It's got a flag. It's got a sun. It's got a smiley face. I think it hits all the key boxes for me in an artwork. Writing, lawyer, kind of like swirly stuff, kind of reminds me of the old school. Sound recordings. They last for a certain number of time. Right. So that, basically, if you're ever sort of writing anything down, you get copyright. There's copyright, unfortunately, in the speech. So if you want to use it, actually, you can have it. So it's fine. But I could maybe stop you doing it if I was so inclined. The next slide shows a ridiculous situation. An artist sued someone over, basically, he was a basketball player. He liked a bit of art, got it tattooed on him. And then the artist sued him for copyright infringement for his tattoo. Are there anyone American here? Yeah, okay, the law in America is mental. I spent 3 hours yesterday on a call to some patent people in America. It's crazy. You shouldn't sue people for this. Or maybe you should, I don't know. In true American style, they settled out of court, so we'll never know what happens. So, sorry, I went back. Every time you ask me a question, I seem to go... Essentially, it's completely your fault. I mean, it's nothing to do with me. It's also a Mac. I'm not very good with Macs, so... or PowerPoint. Essentially, I'm not very good with computers. This is a terrible thing. I have no idea why I'm here. Anyway, so trademarks. Trademarks you have to pay for. They're kind of important. You've all seen things. Can be registered or unregistered, indicate the identity of origin of product. The way I like to think of it, it's a brand, it's a stamp on the side that tells people, yeah, this was made by this person and they can buy it. So I've got, Finisterre, these sort of things. You can get loads of stuff as trademarks. And distinguish the products, word or logo, and it can't be descriptive. You can't trademark, you trademark it against goods and services if it's registered. You can't trademark the name soap for soap and then stop other people calling soap soap. That's mental. You could trademark soap for apps or computer games or clothes and, soap brand. That would make more sense. If you try the other way, you're an idiot. So here are some of them. So it doesn't have to be words. It can be, this is incredibly effective trademark, and they go mental if you go anywhere near this. So there you go. You can trademark a red colour at the bottom of a shoe. I hastily put these slides together, and the girl who sent them really into shoes, so she sent me quite a lot of pictures of shoes. Actually, I should hide the corner. Does everyone know what this is? This is that Intel really annoying noise, like dong, 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 dong. Well, that apparently means that. That's trademarked as a sound. Crazy. And this is what I came up with the other day. Do you all recognise this? This is clear trademark. Yeah, Silverstone, trademarked. So, if you ever change your track, you have to kind of play with your trademark and file another one. So those are trademarks. They're powerful things. You can stop people using it, and it gives you the right to, Minecraft. They can go onto the App Store and take down all the people who are just using Minecraft to get people to buy their game or their app. We've been doing some stuff on eBay recently, and the amount of infringements is insane for even Minecraft stuff, like cake tops. Minecraft, I have no idea, but basically lots of people, ooh, 5 minutes left. So I've been rambling like an idiot. Someone just gave me a whiskey back there to settle my nerves, so. Just so you're aware, don't drink whiskey before you present on stuff. You essentially end up with loads of stuff left over. So anyway, we're going to skip through this, because I really want to cover one thing. Design rights. These can be unregistered, unregistered. What's the thing? Lego. Lego is really, it's about to come out at the end of its design right period. But yeah, if you do anything with Lego, yeah, they go really mental. Danish people, not as chilled as you'd think. This is a shoe, another shoe. This is a Julian Hawk shoe. It's kind of swirly and cool. Christiana at work loves it. That's why she sent me the picture. It's a shoe. This is a coat hanger. I mean, this is a Jif lemon. And there is loads of stuff written about these Jif lemons, unregistered rights. Basically, if you want to put lemon juice in something, don't use a lemon. There's your rules. Patents. Patents protect inventions. All the cases about patents are amazing. They're all about windsurfs and bungee jumping and whether someone came up with it first. Once it's out in the public, it's all gone wrong and you can't patent it. And then you get really complicated stuff in software. Does anyone play like video games when you have the ghost car that kind of drives around the track? Yeah, that's patented. So if you're going to make a racing game, don't do that. Or get a license, one or two. Yeah, Apple love patenting stuff. The pinch screen on the map, that's patented. Terrifyingly, Elf Yourself is patented by Pix Fusion, who viciously enforce it. The idea of putting a photo on a thing that dances. So, yeah. And that's in America, by the way, I should point out. So, and Dyson, patent the shit out of everything. So, I can say that. I went for an interview with them once, and I basically said that, and they said, yeah, we do. The important thing to remember is loads of intellectual property rights exist in the stuff. So you've got registered design on the curves, the design, you've got software, copyright in the apps, you've got a trademark here, you've got loads of stuff saying if you rip this off, we'll kill you. Interesting things. Anyway, what I really want to do, other things to consider, data privacy. Don't mess around with people's data. Ask for permission. Confidentiality. I think it was chatted earlier. Basically, don't give stuff away. Coke and KFC have actually protected stuff for years without patenting by just not giving it out. It's clever. Who would have thought secrecy would work? So anyway, ownership of copyright and other IP rights. Who's starting up a company? Put your hand up. Keep your hands up in the air. Keep them high. If you currently work for somebody else, an employer, keep your hand in the air. Okay, there's a few people. Basically, if you create something, you own it. If it's registered, it's the registered owner. However, if you're an employee of a company and you create something in the course of your employment, your employer owns it. So if you're doing your startup and you're doing all these IP rights, and your employer is doing a similar thing in the course of your employment, they're going to own the IP rights. It's shit. Don't do that. Sign it off or do something really, really secret so they never know. Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Whoever would give you that advice? It's insane. Right. So, IP, or if there's anything to the contrary. You've all seen your employment agreements, you try and negotiate, they just ignore you. It happens in law as well, and we're all lawyers, and we all know it's illegal, it's fine. But they basically say, anything you ever make, your shopping list, the copyright in your shop, I'm going to own that, it's very important to my business. So you need to be sort of careful. So fine, if you have employees and you're making IP, it's the value of your business, you own it. However, freelancers aren't employees. If you employ a freelancer to make a logo for you, if you're a smoothie maker, make sure they assign it over to you, or at least get some paperwork, because otherwise you don't own it, and years later you have an absolute mess. So for certainty, in all these sort of situations, you want to own your IP, then you can give it away, you can license it. It's the value to your business. You need to protect it. So just get a bit of paperwork knocked up. It's really short and simple. It just says, in return for £1, I'm going to give you this thing and all the rights in it. That's all you need to know. So going back to Innocent, I'll tell you the story. I'm going to paraphrase the story. I've even written it down so I don't get it wrong, and then I'm going to get it wrong, so it's fine. Okay, so The first one is 3 guys create a company, maybe making smoothies, and want a logo. They ask a freelance designer to design one. They sit in a cafe, and the designer draws a logo. They love it, take it away, and use it as part of their brand. They forget to pay the designer and get them to assign the rights over to the company. Let's call it fresh trading. Innocent. Years later, it's actually really called fresh trading, I found out recently. Years later, they're really successful and sell to a large multinational, maybe Coke. The designer has sold the rights in the logo to another company, and the company applies to and successfully cancels the trademark on the basis that the designer owned the copyright in the logo. It's shit. They probably lose some money. They might not. The other story is 3 guys create a company and want a logo. They ask a freelance designer to design one. They sit in a cafe and they discuss it. One of the founders draws a logo and says they want something a bit like this. They then realise that what he's drawn is perfect. They don't need the freelance designer, and they go away and use it. They forget to document the fact that the founder drew the logo. Years later, they're really successful and sell up to a large multinational. The designer states he drew the logo. It's purported to sell the rights to the logo to another company. They apply to cancel the trademark. It's cancelled. The founders don't have any evidence that they drew the logo, and the trademark's cancelled. Both situations are perfectly possible. The problem is, if you don't document things as and when they happen, you're going to end up in a situation 10 years later where you get me 10 years ago shuffling into a room, going through all the IP papers and somebody knocking off the value that someone's going to buy for your business. So if you take away anything from this, you probably haven't, it's just keep everything written down. Just document everything. If you're going to get a freelancer to make something for you, just get them to sign a really, really short bit of paper which says, I sign the rights in return for the money. Pay people if they've created something for you, because there's value in that. And the other thing is, you're in a really good time. Startups are loved at the moment. 10 years... Oh, I've got to stop doing that. I'm going off the stage soon. 10 years ago... probably for the best. Right. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you do infringe someone's copyright in, like, say, intellectual property rights presentation, there's always exceptions. If you're doing it for educational purposes, give them a credit, you get off scot-free. There you go. These are people I've infringed. Anyway. That's it. Cheers. Cool.